Hello everyone, I'm Parker and we'll continue to let our imaginations run wild. We discussed some issues related to college student studies earlier which naturally involved some parental concerns. However, the content related to parents should ideally be discussed in the later stages of high school, but I've moved it here. In reality, it's derived from the conclusions drawn earlier to establish the cause and effect relationships discussed earlier after addressing academic issues. Another aspect of a student's performance during college is the issue of making friends, or what we refer to as social issues. Making friends can be divided into two parts. One is making friends of the same gender, such as those in the same dormitory, class or group who get along well. Those who share a dormitory may eat, drink, chat and occasionally get involved in some social activities together, but this is still secondary because such activities are still moderated. The most important issue is students' interactions with the opposite sex, because after entering college they lose the constraints of their family and environment. They are no longer under the supervision of their family and they may not listen to them anymore. So when it comes to making friends with the opposite sex, many issues can arise. Firstly, when they make friends with the opposite sex during this period, it's not just about having an interest, because they have reached a very mature stage of physical development. So during this period, the so-called opposite sex friends they make often end up living together. This can be quite problematic. Why? Because they don't yet understand the concept of mutual responsibility. Under these circumstances, when they live together, it becomes the root cause of the most dreadful problems. Some students become parents and have children before they even graduate from college. These phenomena exist in every country. Another group of students may be together or cohabitating for a while, and then they may move on to a romantic interest or change their minds, resulting in breakups. This can lead to numerous problems and conflicts, so their interactions with the opposite sex during this period are in a very chaotic state, and this kind of chaos is very worrisome to the extent that they often show no sense of responsibility whatsoever. Sometimes they may come together in unconventional places without choosing a specific location, like in classrooms on the university campus and so on. This phenomenon is very concerning, especially since many universities can't effectively control it. This is because the students are adults and it's challenging to interfere with their freedom. Their families can't control them either, and if they don't listen to you, what can you do? If a university enforces strict regulations, to be honest, a student could potentially sue them for infringing on their freedom right. Today's students are not as compliant as they were decades ago. Nowadays, students can hire lawyers and take legal action against the university, so there's no way to restrict their basic rights. Right. In this situation, it is indeed very frightening and sad. Many things happen, including situations like love triangles, multiple relationships and so on, which can lead to a series of intense conflicts. The outcomes of these conflicts are often unpredictable. Why? Because students at this stage, while they are adults, may not possess strong reasoning abilities, may have difficulty introspecting, tend to be self-centered and are very impulsive. This is the most pitiable and terrifying aspect. Parents at this stage often can't help them, and whatever you say they won't listen. Universities can't control them either, so during this period, what can they rely on? They must rely on their sense of responsibility. However, most students lack this self-awareness. They are highly profit-driven, which is the root of the problem. Therefore, during your college years, I am not against you making friends of the opposite sex at times, but the most fundamental prerequisite for making friends is this: what will you use to take responsibility? You mustn't forget that as an adult you are responsible for all your actions. This is the most basic principle and the bottom line. If you can't even uphold this bottom line, then you are engaging in wrongdoing, both in a formal and moral sense. You are committing a crime. But how many students can accept this kind of education? It's very difficult, extremely difficult. Of course, there are exceptions, some countries and certain religious requirements that are very strict, and we can't discount that. However, the majority of college students tend to be more indulgent in this regard. Some students understand the importance of maintaining their purity, but these students might not be very popular in college. Nevertheless, they are often the ones who can control themselves. Such students do exist, but they are only a minority. Most students struggle to control themselves and engage in behavior that is not only unpleasant but also irresponsible. Therefore, during the college years, problems often arise, which can be quite troublesome. Why? Because they might break the law. They are adults and their behavior is subject to legal constraints. If they cross that bottom line, they are indeed breaking the law, which can lead to significant trouble. In such situations, as parents, we often find ourselves powerless because we can't control them when they are away from us. It's usually only when they get into trouble that they inform us, and then we have no choice but to clean up the mess and deal with the consequences. Because parents often feel a strong sense of affection for their children and want to protect them, they might say, all right, go and deal with it. But don't forget, just because you handle the situation does it mean they won't repeat their mistakes. Maybe they won't make the same mistake, but they might engage in other problematic behavior. So it's a genuinely worrisome phenomenon. Some students, especially those from more affluent families, after making friends of the opposite sex, may want to buy a car, expensive clothing, makeup and so on. They spend money lavishly even though they don't earn it, and they feel justified in doing so. As parents, what can you do? You support them. Well, one day when you can't support them anymore, let's see what you'll do then. Certainly for those with very wealthy families who can financially support them indefinitely, you can take care of them. However, in the end, what you may be nurturing is someone who contributes nothing, a worthless individual who lacks integrity. Is that meaningful? With a strong thinking pattern, you can extend theory into practice and then reverse engineer it to determine what theoretical support is required. When you can structure these questions into a visual form like a tree diagram, you will understand where your most critical challenges lie, what you need to learn, and even how to approach the most vital knowledge points. Furthermore, when you study specialized knowledge, it's essential to understand where and how to apply it. This requires having expansiveness in your thinking. What does expansiveness mean? It means that your specialized knowledge should have the potential for development. You can't limit yourself by thinking that you've learned a specific amount of specialized knowledge and that's all there is to it for the rest of your life. You need to recognize the developmental aspects and potential of your knowledge. If you don't have this understanding, it's as if you haven't truly learned. Think about it. Is this one of the most crucial aspects of learning during your time in college? There's another crucial phase, which is the internship period. Many college students may not fully understand the significance of this internship period. In reality, an internship is a critical threshold as you step into the professional world. How you take this step, in what form, and what you learn during your internship determines your professional state in the future. Some may say that internships are primarily for writing research papers or completing graduation projects, which is their direct purpose. However, the most important aspect is that you need to learn how to work. To put it plainly, internships are not just about obtaining a certificate of recognition from the internship organization that allows you to graduate smoothly. If you view it this way, honestly, it doesn't hold much significance, and your prospects may not be very promising because you may not have realized the significance of this invaluable internship period. For college students, this internship period is one of the most crucial phases that connects you with the real world. During this time, the key is to embrace the role of an intern. Whether it's your employer, mentor, or colleagues, they will teach you important aspects of the job. The question is whether you've learned and absorbed these insights. If you can comprehend and distill this knowledge, integrating it into your understanding, that is the most critical aspect of the internship period. Out of the countless college students around the world, I'm not sure how many of you truly understand the importance of the internship period. The internship is extremely significant because it's like your first contact with the real world, your future job. If you don't know how to make the most of your internship and consequently how to perform in your future work. Frankly, you'll be ineffective and of little use, so why have I provided this special emphasis on the internship period? It's because I want you to take it seriously as a college student. Once you enter your internship, I hope you will give it your full attention. During your internship, you are in a state where there is neither formal employment nor being a full-time employee. During this period, you will learn and become familiar with many techniques, methods, and the application of knowledge related to the work processes. Once you understand and can summarize and refine these insights after you graduate from college, you will have the confidence to excel in any job position you choose. Third, many college students, as we mentioned earlier, are often seen as bookworms. They focus solely on their studies and don't have any other hobbies or interests. This situation is quite common in college, and there are many such students. Is this approach right or wrong? In my opinion, it's not entirely right. Why do I say this? Because college students need to have a flexible and open-minded way of thinking. They require a broad base of knowledge to complete the college learning process. We'll discuss the college learning process in more detail later, but for now let's focus on the idea that studying for the sake of studying alone is too narrow in its scope. Some might argue that they are studying to excel, to pursue a master's or a doctor of philosophy program. That's fine, but you know what, regardless of, will need substantial additional knowledge to support your studies. Engaging in relevant interest groups or organizations can increase your understanding and expand your knowledge in various ways. So for students who study solely for the sake of studying, I still believe that you lack the enthusiasm and vigor that young people should have. Just studying for the sake of studying, even if you get into graduate programs or earn a master's or a doctor of philosophy, can lead to entering a kind of loop. What kind of loop? You will find yourself trapped within the boundaries of your chosen field of knowledge, unable to break free. You are unlikely to have any breakthroughs or innovations. This conclusion is drawn from practical experience and research. Therefore, I hope that students who truly make it to college will choose to engage in activities that genuinely interest them. Firstly, it enhances your overall quality and raises your standards. Secondly, it broadens your field of knowledge. This is beneficial for your future, and it's my perspective. I don't know whether you accept it or not, but it doesn't matter. I'm just expressing my viewpoint. Thirdly, after entering college, many students seem to focus solely on obtaining a degree using various means and tactics. They often lack interest in groups and organizations that can genuinely enhance their knowledge and expand their cognitive horizons. Instead, they may join groups engaged in questionable activities. I won't go into the specifics here, as it's something widely understood, and such groups tend to exist to some extent in most universities now. No matter what attitude you have when you get to college, the premise is one: you eventually have to complete the university courses. After all, you need to graduate. Of course, many individuals are just coasting through their college years. How do they do it? Through various means like plagiarism, seeking assistance, and at times even trying to bribe their teachers. They employ all kinds of tactics. When it's like this, the meaning of your college education is lost. In my opinion, many students in college find themselves in these situations, and the majority of them are merely pursuing diplomas. In reality, many people, once they start working in the professional world, recall their college life when they faced challenging situations, how much time they wasted, how much of their youth they squandered. The common shortcoming among all young people is that they waste their youth. Young people often fail to understand the value of time and do not cherish their youthful years. It's profoundly unfortunate. As I mentioned earlier, young people often lack concepts like self-esteem, self-respect, self-preservation, and self-love. To be honest, if you don't understand these concepts and apply them in dealing with various life situations, you are likely to face significant challenges in the future. If you don't believe me, I suggest you investigate and learn for yourself. Those who don't understand the importance of self-esteem, self-respect and self-love are unlikely to lead a very good or fulfilling life in the future. While you're young, you might feel like you don't care about much, but I can assure you that when the day comes that you do care, you'll be left with nothing but regrets and remorse. This lecture primarily aimed to provide some simple insights into the initial stages of entering college and touch upon surface level observations. I didn't delve too deeply into the subject because in the upcoming lectures there will be numerous aspects related to these issues and this period of life to be discussed in more detail. When the time is right, we will cover them then. For now, I can only provide a general overview. Alright, I'll stop here for now.
Friends who are interested in my lectures, please click to subscribe and click on the little bell. At the same time, the links to the Big Tree Thinking Model Theory ebook and the Big Tree Thinking Model and Junior High School Mathematics lectures are here below. Friends can click on the link to watch related free lectures. Thank you all.